Hey, where's my Tenere? Hey, there it is. Wait a second. This isn't my Tenere. This one here is much newer. And it's not super. As you can see, we don't have my Tenere here today. We have a Tenere 700 of the 2024 model variety. So we're going to go through it. We're going to talk about the specs. We're going to talk about the modifications done to it. And then we're going to take it out on the road, see how it does. In model year 2024, you can pick one of these up for $10,799. For under 11 grand, that seems like a pretty good deal for me, but we'll see how we like it out on the road and see if everybody else feels like that would be a good deal for them. On the used market, for one of the previous year models, you could get it anywhere from like $8,000 to $9,500. Honestly, you're not saving that much on a used one, so you might as well get the brand new stuff. New for the 2024 model year is a 5-inch TFT display, 3 modes of ABS, LED turn signals, and an optional quick shifter, up only, which this bike does not have. There is a 21-inch front wheel and an 18-inch rear wheel. Both of them are sitting on Scorpion Rally STR tires, and they are tube tires, which are arguably better for heavy-duty off-road. Looking at the front here, we have dual 282 millimeter rotors, and we have Brembo calipers in the front. We have a single 245 millimeter rotor and a Brembo on the rear. Suspension in the front is controlled by a set of 43 millimeter inverted forks that are fully adjustable. In the rear, we have a rebound and preload adjustable shock. The front suspension has 8.3 inches of travel, and the rear suspension has 7.9 inches of travel. The ground clearance is like 9-something inches. I'll put it on the screen down below. In the engine department, we have the world-famous Yamaha CP2, which is a 689cc parallel twin with a 270-degree crank and an 11.5 to 1 compression ratio. The CP2 puts out 72 horsepower and 50 pounds of torque. The numbers don't sound all that great, but I can tell you from experience, from riding other CP2s, it's a fun little engine. There is a 6-speed transmission, and it has a chain final drive. The Tenere 700 holds 4.2 gallons of fuel and gets around 43 mpg, so you should be able to get between 180 to 200 miles on a single tank. It has a 34.4-inch seat height. As you can see, there are bark busters, which are my favorite hand guards by far. Don't ask me why, I don't really know. They're just my favorite. Outback MotorTech crash bars have been added, which is a very good idea for this bike because you know you're going to drop it, or you should, as I'm told. Anyway, a Tusk rear rack has been added to hold this nice Pelican-style case. The factory baffle has been removed from the exhaust to make it a little louder. It sounds pretty good. You'll hear that in a second. And we have a Push. You have a touring windscreen. However you say that. If you know how to say that, let me know. Pig. I don't know. Touring windscreen. So one thing that I want to point out real quick. If you watched the last video I did on my personal Super Tenere, you'll remember how these foot pegs are nice and squishy and fluffy when you're just chilling riding. But when you stand up, your feet touch these little spikes and gives you some grip. They continued that on the 700, which is really, really cool. Let's sit on it, talk about the dash a little bit and all the other gizmos that it has. Fire it up, give it a little sound check, and then we'll take it for a rip. And with a little bit of editing magic, the bike's at a better angle for the camera to see. We are now sitting on the Tenere 700. It has a seat height of 34.4 inches. And for a guy of my size, which is a beautiful 255 pounds, 6 foot tall, with a 32-inch inseam. Again, shout out to the JK forefronts. They are awesome. It's really comfortable. I can actually flat foot this quite easily. So unless you're quite vertically challenged, you should be able to ride a Tenere 700. All right, let's turn it on and see how this 5-inch TFT looks. So far, it looks pretty good. I really like the way they mounted this TFT display. It almost looks like they were going for like a rally look, and I think it is really, really cool. So using this scroll wheel on the right, you can cycle through a bunch of different pieces of information. If you press and hold it, you will get to the actual settings where you can change stuff. And then you can see you can get like texts and calls on here and stuff like that. Themes. So I think there's 2 themes. That is Explorer. I guess maybe that'd be better for if you're standing all the time. You can look down and kind of see your RPMs. But we're not doing a whole bunch of off-roading today. Probably because we're not doing any off-roading today. So we will just switch it back to street. In this menu, you also have the ABS modes. When we go to the ABS modes, you have the option of ABS on, just the rear ABS to be off, or all of ABS to be off. We're not going to do any of that because we're not going off-road, so we're just going to hit exit. I do want to point out, though, that Yamaha did something really, really cool on this bike. So if we were in one of the off-road modes, let's say we just turned ABS completely off, as soon as we were done being off-road and right as we got back on-road, they put this really cool button here that you just press and it turns ABS back on. That's really cool. I do kind of wish that it was the same button for ABS off, ABS on. That would be really sweet. I also want to note the USB that goes right there. What do you say we fire this sucker up, see how it sounds? All right, let's check this out. I think it sounds pretty good. CP2s always do. All right, now we're on the bike. It is running. Let's take her for a rip and see how she does. Oh yeah, listen to that CP2 go. Sounds pretty good. Right off the bat, when you sit on this and when you start to go, I feel like my hands are reaching a little bit, like I'm leaning a little forward to get to the handlebars. As you do notice, the handlebars are very flat. I think this is very dirt oriented, and because I'm leaned over like that, I'm kind of reaching. I keep trying to scooch myself up on the tank to mitigate that. And I want to think that that's probably on purpose. I know on dirt bikes you're supposed to sit as far forward as you can, so maybe it's supposed to be like that on this too. Because this feels like, after I scooched up on the tank as far as I could, this feels like a more neutral position, like I'm supposed to be sitting like this. But I don't know. I'm not a super hardcore dirt off-road guy, so could be wrong. I've been wrong once before. So one thing I'm noticing is that the shift lever is up quite a bit, and it's up that far because the guy who rides this rides off-road quite often and has those big off-road boots that he has to accommodate for. All right, now we're getting to our curvy-ish road. So we'll see how the 21-inch front wheel and the Tenere 700 does. Dominus, ominous, all that stuff. Respect the dead, whatnot. The Scorpion STRs that come on this bike, I hear are really good on road, but not that great off-road. I don't know, I haven't used them off-road. But I have seen these tires take some pretty gnarly turns in the past, because another buddy of mine has a Tenere 700 and he rides the shit out of it. I mean, it feels okay. It feels pretty neutral. Obviously, it's not going to feel like the sportiest thing on the planet, but, you know, it doesn't feel terrible either. And there I go again, leaving the damn turn signal on. What a numbnuts. I mean, the transitions are pretty quick. That might just be because it's, you know, way lighter than the last bike I rode. And the last bike I rode was my Tenere, which my first introduction to Teneres were a Tenere 700. So after seeing the popularity of the 700, the, you know, just the rise to power of the T7, every time I see a Super Tenere, like, I'm almost like ashamed to call it a Tenere, because there's no way it could live up to the hype of a 700. So I don't know, maybe I'll just call mine like the S10 or something. I don't know. The clutch feels quite nice. On initial impressions of the braking, even though they're Brembos, like, they don't feel amazing. Maybe that's because I'm used to the Brembos that are on that were on my KTM 1090 and my KTM 990 SMT. The brakes on both of those bikes were insane. Like, they were so good. And this has Brembos too, so when I grab the brakes, I expect the same level of performance as those, and it's not even comparable. Like, these feel like a mild upgrade to like Yamaha's regular brakes, I guess, maybe. You can see where this bike has been down before. Ooh, nice little chance to hear the CP2 sing. Let's go. Yeah, listen to it. She sounds good. Yeah, I like that. I like that. All right, we're about to hit a red light. We'll try the brakes a little bit more than we have been. We'll put a little bit more pressure on the brakes. The brakes stop it quite nicely. It's just the initial feel and the feel of the brakes isn't quite up to par with what I'm used to. So what we're going to do is when we take this left, we're going to stand first and we're going to mash on it. And we're just going to keep mashing on it until we get to a speed where I'm no longer comfortable going faster. So let's do that. And from what I'm seeing, this bike does not have traction control like my Tenere, so it will let me wheelie as much as I want and won't put any dampeners on all of my fun. Or I won't. Alright, let's give it a shot. And just as expected, the glorious CP2 lives up to the hype and is super playful and just wants to pull wheelies. Such a good time. Such a good time. I love it. All right, let's see how this bike does with a U-turn. Very good. One thing that I have noticed about this bike is that it almost like forces me to want to ride it casually. Maybe that's because of the way it delivers its power. Maybe it's you know, the length that you have to, that's a whole bunch to get it all the way there. But, you know, I don't know what it is about it. I think it's probably the way it makes its power, though. It's very, very, very smooth, and it doesn't really make that much crazy noise and all that stuff until you give it quite a bit of throttle. So like this right here, like I'm just, you know, like this is kind of how I want to ride it, you know? just kind of chill. Let's talk about this dash here. You got the gear indicator. You got miles per hour on the bottom. Like I showed before, you can switch through the other pieces of information, the trip and all that stuff. Fuel over here on the left. Engine temperature over here on the right. And look at what we have here. It's like an analog, but it's not. How do I feel about that? Well, it's not the stupid slidey thingy, so I like that a whole lot. That is really cool. The one on Explorer mode where it's a slidey thingy but just goes up and down, I don't know. Maybe I'd have to like see it. Maybe I'd have to use it off-road to really appreciate it. But like on-road, that would be annoying as shit. In my eyes. That is my opinion. All of this shit is my opinion. Give it a little bit of the beans on the highway and see how it does under highway circumstances. That's definitely where you can feel the lack of power. Like, it goes great and it's fine. Like, I feel like 50 and up horsepower is fine on the highway. I will, however, say that I'm only going 77, 78 miles an hour, and she's screaming. It might be just a little vibrational here and there, but, you know, I could deal with that. Honestly, the biggest thing that would get on my nerves on a long highway jaunt with this would be the noise. Just that it's at such high RPM and the exhaust is pretty loud. So, but I think it's manageable. I think you could tour on this if you're a bit of a sadist. Matt, talking about the big windscreen, it is keeping the air right to the top of my beak. So it's keeping much of the wind off me. I really, really like that windscreen. But we all know I'm a windscreen whore, so of course I'm gonna love the giant windscreen, right? All right, talking about the mirrors, they are very, very, very good. They're better than the ones on the Super Tenere, for sure. There is no vibration in them hardly, and I can very clearly see everything behind me. Oh, cool thing I always like with crash bars. Yeah, baby. Who needs highway pegs when you got straight up fucking chill pegs? You put your leg up right here and chill, son. Car coming up on me right spicy. Get out of my face, bro. Come on, son. Yeah, I think it's very highway capable. I would say the only two negatives are the vibration and the sound, just because you're at such a high RPM. If you doubt the capabilities of the T7, I encourage you to go look up videos of Paul Torres on his T7, because he will change your damn mind, I can promise you. Who is this bike for? I mean, if you're hardcore about going adventure riding and you want to do a lot of off-road, this is definitely the bike for you. Like, if I wanted to do maybe more than, you know, if I wanted to do more than 50% off-road riding, this would definitely be the bike for me, for sure. I want to say in 2025 it's finally getting cruise control, which would be really, really nice, because this one does not. But, you know, I can live without cruise control. It's not that big of a deal. What do you say we get into our ranking system? So, aesthetically, this bike looks badass, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I love the way this bike looks. I'm gonna have to go with a 9 on the looks. Like, I really, really like the way this bike looks. These, like, rally-looking inspired bikes just hit me differently, and I absolutely love them to death. So a 9 on aesthetics. For versatility, I mean, obviously it's mad versatile. If it had bags, it would do it all. It has this little Pelican case, but, you know, that only holds but so much.
but it can go off-road, it can do on-road. I mean, it's a little down on power, but that's okay. So for versatility, I'll give it a 6.5. Fun factor, I mean, the CP2 is an awesome freaking engine. I would say that it felt a lot more playful in the FZ07 and MT07, whatever the hell. But the CP2 and the MT07 definitely felt just a little more, a little more playful. On the other hand, it still makes good torque, good power, and it loves to do wheelies. So, you know, for that, I have to rank it at least pretty good. You know, we'll say, we'll go with 6.5 again. 6.5 for fun overall. So when you take everything into consideration, how it feels to ride on the highway, how it feels to ride on the back roads, how cool it looks, how much power it makes, how fun it is, coupled with the fact that it's a Yamaha and it's probably going to last forever, you know, it's going to score pretty high. I will go with a 8. Ooh, my favorite turn, my favorite turn. It felt pretty good. I like that turn a lot. All right, this is a good spot to do a 0 to 60 and a braking check, so let's do that after I turn the damn turn signal off. All right, 3, 2, 1. ABS certainly works. I can tell you that for sure. I actually think that was a pretty good 0 to 60. I feathered the throttle in first just enough so it won't wheelie so much. It still tried to, but not as much as it would have if I just full throttle the whole time, for sure. This bike is right fun. I do, however, think that I could own this bike. It is very, very good. All 12 people that watch my channel and to all 7 people that made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. I love you. All that jazz. Won't say it, don't worry, not gonna say it. All I'm gonna say is thank you for watching to the end. So if there's any bike that you would like me to test, put it down in the comments and I'll see if I can get my grubby little hands on one. Until then, see you next time. Smell you later. Bye! God damn it, motherfucker. I feel your heart. It's beating time with mine. You thought love was on the line. He holds you down, but I know you want to run. Well, you're hot, loaded like a gun. Oh, you feel oh so trapped and confused. Start with nothing. You've got nothing to lose. You can never, 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 ever hide your heart. Don't ever, 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 ever try.